Here are the only 5 pages that you need on your church website to bring people to church to hear the gospel and be discipled. Now, these 5 pages that I'm going to share with you today are data driven because across 100 of our client sites that we monitor, the same 5 pages show up as the most visited pages, meaning the rest of the website is just not as important. Okay. And look, I'm not saying that they're not ever important, but let's be honest, you're going to spend more time maintaining, optimizing, and improving your sanctuary rather than your fellowship hall. Because while they're both important, sanctuaries, let's just be honest, is more important. Okay. And while those other church pages, sure, yeah, those pages are just as important, but they're not as important. So if you have limited time, limited budget, limited whatever, spend it on the pages that more people are going to visit. Okay. It's common sense. Don't spend so much time on a page that only a couple of people visit a month and neglect the page that hundreds of people are going to visit a month. All right. So, most church websites, I'm going to share with you the 5 pages, right, real quick, okay? But I just want you to understand, now, the reason I'm sharing you these 5 pages, the first thing you're going to think of is, well, that's not enough. The next thing you're going to think of is, other church websites, the bigger church websites have all these pages and all these things, so we need to try to keep up with them. Look, if you try to keep up with the Jonases, okay, I'm going to tell you the same thing that your pastor, or if you are the pastor, I'm going to tell you the same thing you tell other people. If you try to keep up with others, you're going to burn yourself out. Okay. If you're a small church, sub 300 even, small to medium, and you try to make a website that's like the mega churches, you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to overwhelm and confuse your guests, and you're going to spend time and money on something that's not going to move your mission forward. Okay. It's not going to move you forward towards your mission and vision. Not only that, if you try to overcomplicate your website, if you try to over-optimize it, you try to overbuild it, and you try to make it perfect before you launch, your website is going to be a liability rather than an asset, because all it's going to do is ask for more time instead of give inspiration to get people to church. Okay. So to conquer that, I'm going to give you, if you're designing your website right now, I want you to make a promise to me. You're going to start with these 5 pages. The 5 pages that I'm going to share with you here are the only 5 pages you need to launch a website. It's not the final product. It's not done. Calm down, youth pastor, kids pastor, because you didn't get your own page. That can come. But I would rather launch a website with these 5 pages and start bringing in guests as soon as this Sunday, rather than hold it up for 3 months because one person won't give me the information they need for their page. All right. We do the same thing in our agency. When we build a church website, we build out these 5 pages first, and then we're ready to launch. Because you need these 5 pages. These are the most 5 visited pages. And oftentimes these pages are the decision point for people's journey. So you need these 5. The other pages, they're just looking for something specific, but it's usually not a decision-making piece of information. Okay. So let me share with you the 5 pages you need to launch a website that's going to bring people to church. First off, obviously, your homepage. Okay. That's the main page of your website. That's the first page. When you type in www.firstbaptistwhatever.com, the page that loads, that's your homepage. Don't neglect it. Ooh, okay. I'm going to try to keep my blood pressure low. One of the things I hate to see is churches build websites and the homepage is just one picture and it says explore more. And then they got 500 pages of all the ministries and all the opportunities and all the events. But the homepage, the first page, your first impression is just a weird picture and just some generic information. Okay. That's not what your homepage needs. I'm going to give you a resource to build a homepage that's going to get more people excited to visit your church. I'm going to share with you that once I finish going through, whatever, navachurchwebsite.com, navachurchwebsite.com. You can get the homepage that's going to get 3 times more people clicking through your website to learn about your church and plan a visit. Okay. Obviously, that's the page you need. It needs to be developed like a scrolling navigation menu, meaning if I see something and I want to learn more, I'm not going to go clicking around. Okay. That's old stuff. We don't do that anymore. We scroll now. So you need to have your church at a glance and validate what God's doing in your church. Show it through pictures, showcase it through testimonials, but that's your homepage. Okay. And for a lot of churches, you don't need more than that. you are completely fine building a one-page website that only gives your potential guest one thing to do. Totally fine. Because when I share Jesus with someone, I don't say, now at this point you can go to church, you can watch the YouTube video, you can download this app, you can read your Bible. No, give them one thing to do. Come visit church, right? Or actually, I guess that one thing would be like, do you accept Jesus in your heart? But that's the main thing, okay? Now, if you want to go a little bit more in detail, which by the way, if you're a church under 100, you probably don't need more than one page. Just do the homepage really well. That resource I shared with you is going to help you do that. The next page, we don't call it, you're not going to literally call the page this, but this is what the page is called, okay? Is your next steps page, okay? And with that is this. Answer this question. If your church website visitor could only do one thing, meaning they can only do one thing, okay? There is no giving them options. There is no saying we could do this or this or this or find your place to belong. No, they can only do one thing. What would that one thing be? You build an entire page around it. It's called a landing page, but you build an entire page around it, okay? If that's plan a visit to Sunday, have them plan a visit. If it's watch a sermon online, make a whole page just watching one sermon online. If it's to join a life group, make an entire page of all the groups or just the importance of joining a life group so they can make that decision to join a life group, okay? It's your next steps page. Some people just call it next steps. Some people call it plan a visit. Some people call it what to expect. Some people call it what to find a group, new here, whatever it is, right? You have one page that's all about the one thing you want them to do, if they can only do one thing. The reason is people will only do what you tell them to. And if you tell them to do a lot of things, they can't do a lot of things, so they end up doing nothing. But if you tell them one thing to do, and you're very intentional about getting them to do that, you will see more people planning a visit, seeing what to expect, coming to Sunday, because you made it very clear that's what you want them to do. All right. The next page is what we call the transitory page, meaning if they're not ready to take that next step, then you can give them an easier, less risky choice, something to do. A lot of times we like to position this as the online guest gift. And if that's your first time hearing about an online guest gift, you can go on our YouTube channel or our podcast history archive and look up more about online guest gifts. It's a great second step that showcases you understand your people. You show that you can serve them. You provide them value. And it's an easy way to start a one-on-one conversation with them instead of, oh, they visited our website, I hope they come back. All right. So usually this is, like prayer request, watch online. We like to do some kind of resource, prayer guide, article, ebook, something like that. Something that if they're not ready to take that next step, because honestly, it's a big next step to go into a building full of strangers and do a bunch of weird things and sing songs to a person you're not sure you actually believe in. But it's easy to say, you know what? I do want to learn how to pray. I do want to learn more about this Jesus. I do want to check it out online before I go in person. Secondary next step. That's an option, but that's it. That's all you need. Have a whole page built for that. The next page is your about page. Now, you could build an about page and a leadership page. Most churches just need an about page. And this is where you showcase not just about your church, but about what your church does for the people you're called to serve. Okay. So this is where a lot of places will tack on their mission and vision, their core values, their leaders, a lot of stuff about the church. But you have an opportunity here. If they want to learn more about you, they actually want to learn about what you can do for them. So what does your mission mean in their lives? What does your vision mean for the community? What are your core values and how do they shape what they'll experience on Sunday? And your leadership, why should they care about who you are ahead of a visit? And is that 4? Home, next steps, secondary step, about, and give. Okay. I like to have a give page, and it's not too, this is a little bit of an under the radar thing that we like about the give page. It's not so much about getting money, but about showing what ministries are doing with the resources that you're given. Okay. Let me explain. If someone is thinking about visiting your church for the first time, you don't want them to give, usually. You want them to give you a Connect card in lieu of a monetary donation to the church or to God, however you frame it, okay? But if they're online and they click the give button and all they see is give here, give here, give here. This is how you can give. We love your money so much. That's going to be an impression they get. That's going to be what they're kind of expecting. But if they click the give button and they see what money is going towards, They see the life impact, the number of people fed, the number of people clothed, the number of community change, the amount of food given, the amount of lives changed, the amount of addictions broken, the amount of marriages saved. If they see that your church is not only asking for money, but asking for money to give it back to the community and service out of the outpouring of what Christ has done with us, how much more powerful is that? And yeah, obviously your people have a way to give online. But imagine the surprise when someone says, oh, give, what, give money? Oh, look at all that they're doing. Wow, this would be a place I'd love to give to. Maybe they make a donation, but it also reinforces that you're a church on the move. You're a church acting. And yes, it gives your people a way to give online. Okay. This is all part of our framework of be engaging. Okay. This is how you create an engaging website. If you just have these 5 pages, you will see more people staying on your website longer, clicking through to plan that next step, and coming to church if that's what your next step is. So again, I want you to visit navachurchwebsite.com. I have a link down below. There's always a link down below. navachurchwebsite.com. You can get the definitive church website homepage framework. And even if this is your only page, you just build a one-page website. And you just have these 5 pages. Starting with that homepage framework, you will have a website that's going to bring people to church. Okay? Because remember, more choices mean more work, and more work means less decisions, and less decisions means, well, you have less people doing things in your church. So if you can make it easier, you can take the workload off of them and make it easy for them to understand what you want them to do next. Make it easy for them to make a decision, and make it easy for them to understand your church and why your church should be important to their lives and why they should care about you. You will see more people coming to your church.